This morning, we that hope that parents and anyone who is helping to raise a child will stop now and listen. Heartbreaking video reminds us again about the devastating impact that bullying has on children. In fact, the video shows a 9-year-old boy in Australia repeatedly telling his own mother that he wants to die.
I just want to die right now. I want someone to kill me.
Now, that is 9-year-old Quaden Bales, who is obviously deeply distressed, sobbing to his mother, who recorded this video. This is not the first time that her son has been bullied about his dwarfism. Now, it has now been viewed more than 19 million times. Oh, it breaks my heart. Now, we should point out that Quaden's story in the video has been verified, despite some suggesting that it is not real. Of course, there's always people who are going to do that, unfortunately. Joining me now to talk about bullying and what parents need to do to prevent it and to report it is local psychologist Heather Watson, who works for Duval County's public school district. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I am so angry when I see this video because you can't imagine another human being being terrible to, a child, for example.
Right.
Let's start now if we can, because I think that we encourage our parents all the time to talk to our kids about what's going on in school, but maybe there need to be more pointed questions of our children at the dinner table about how they're treating other children who may be different from them at school.
Absolutely. And I think one of the main conversation is, how would you like someone to treat you? The kind of do unto others as you would have done unto you. And how would you like for someone to treat you? What does it mean to be a friend? Even I've had conversations with my children. Is a friend someone who treats you poorly? No. So we want to make sure that we instill in our children the ability to speak up for themselves and also to speak up for someone else. If they see someone else that is being mistreated, be a friend to that person. If there's someone who's being isolated and they're not being asked to, partake in groups, or no one's sitting with them at lunch, be that person who goes and sits with them. And if you take the first step, maybe someone else will join you. And so you can kind of end this epidemic of just tolerating just kind of being a bystander, really being an upstander. And we want children that if they see something going on with another student, to report it to an adult and let the adults then take some action to kind of correct the behavior.
And I think what's so important about what you've just said is this crosses all age groups.
Absolutely.
Whether, you're raising a first grader as an example, and you come across a student who is crying and you just put your hand on them and say, hey, are you okay?
Absolutely.
Or in teenage years, because we know how teenage and middle school is, right? It can be tough. You see somebody sitting alone at the lunchroom table, and it takes a lot of courage to be the one that stands up and walks over and says, hey, do you want to come sit with me?
Absolutely. And even on social media. Yeah. Because
and that's another
people
point.
often, a whole nother ball game, but people often feel like they can say anything they want to when someone is not sitting in front of them. So what I try to tell students is, if it's something that you would not say if you're looking someone in the face, you probably shouldn't say it at all.
So if you are a parent of a student who's coming home and telling you some things that you might not think is bullying, and you're just not sure, because I think bullying has morphed into something that, as you mentioned, it's more than just somebody pushing another child as an example. There's so much more to it, and there's the social media component as well. What is bullying? How do you describe that to your child?
So first, bullying does have some criteria. It has to be something that's repeated, it's ongoing. What the law says is that it's systematic and chronic. So a one-time occurrence is not necessarily bullying. It also is intentionally done to harm another person. It's just done just to be mean, because bullying is about power. So the person who is bullying someone is really trying to exert their power or their perceived power over another person. So the child who is being victimized feels like they are powerless to stand up against that. So what I tell parents is, have a conversation. You need to find out who's involved, when it's taking place, what is going on, so that you can then report that to your school administration.
And if your child isn't talking to you, but you can tell something's wrong, what do you ask them to try to maybe pull that information out of them?
Well, and I think it's going to be a series of conversations, like what is going on at school, and just let them know that we're here to try to help you, that there are adults in the building who are willing to help you, but we have to know what's going on. Because students often feel like if they report, there's going to be some retaliation. Well, it's the responsibility of the adults in the building to make sure that doesn't happen.
Is there a text, a phone, number that they can call, that teenagers can call as an example if they are just afraid to say something to someone else to report it?
Absolutely. So we have a bully hotline with Duval County, and it's 390-CALL, which is 390-2255. You can also text or email the hotline. If you text 390-CALL at Duval Schools, it converts the text to an email, and that comes to my email address.
Fantastic.
And then you can also email that address. So we found that parents will call, kids will text.
Okay, well, that's great. And it's remember 390-CALL.
Absolutely.
Very simple to remember. Heather, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having
appreciate
me.
it. And if you or your child is being bullied, we told you what that phone number is. Please remember, text or email 390-CALL. And we hope that you will speak up and encourage your child to speak up as well. Remember, at the end of the day and you're having dinner with them, ask them, hey, what did you do that was nice today with another student, right? How are you kind to another student today?
Absolutely.
We do want to share some good news, by the way. Over the weekend, Quaden led out the National Rugby League's Indigenous All-Stars team ahead of an exhibition match against the New Zealand Morris in front of thousands of cheering fans. Hey, it's good to see a smile on his face, right? He was invited by the entire team in a video posted online. The team's captain told him, we've got your back. Celebrities also set up a GoFundMe account to raise money to send the little boy to Disneyland. So far, more than $450,000 has been raised. If you'd like to donate to the GoFundMe or read more about Quaden's story, you can find this story on news4jax.com. We'll be right back.